In my time looking through Squid Game comment sections, posts, and other various media, there's one character that I saw a lot of unnecessary hate for. 07, also known as Park Young-Sik, one of my favorite characters, has been getting so much hate online, and I don't know why. The hate for this man for being flawed and more than a one-dimensional character is insane. Squid Game is known for its characters being pushed to the limit and forced to make decisions they wouldn't normally make. Yet for some reason this is the guy that gets all the hate. I'm sorry, but in my opinion, if you think this guy is really evil, you might have a screw loose up there. Or you just don't understand his character, and I'm going to explain why that is. 007 is introduced in Season 2 of Squid Game, being almost always around his mother, 149. His main characteristics include being a mama's boy, cowardly, and soft. He's far from a perfect guy, but we'll get into that. What you need to know is that no matter what, he will never abandon his mom, and almost all of his actions can be drawn down to this. In fact, it goes so deep that he's willing to give up a team full of strong men in the six-legged game, just because they didn't want to take his mom too. We learn in episode 3 of season 3 why this is. He's always been a coward, letting himself get bullied and never fighting back. One day, his mom got so fed up with him being like this that she yelled at him, telling him she regrets all the pain she went through bringing him into the world. Side note, crazy thing to say to your kid. Never say this to your kid. This led him to attempt to unalive himself. Sorry, YouTube moment. Where he wrote a note and he said he was sorry for being a failure. His mom rushed him to the hospital praying he lived, and he did. Obviously he's a coward. But is that really the worst thing he could be? I mean, apparently according to a lot of people online it is, because people are expecting Minsu to jump down 4 flights of beds just to get to say me when there's a guy twice his size. I'm just saying, you guys are being a little unrealistic there, but that's a topic for another day. His mom did everything she could to keep him tethered to his humanity during the games, and in a way, she's part of the reason he didn't become more brave. If you recall correctly, he was ready to help Gi-hun and his gang when they were going to rebel and fight the guards, but his mom stopped him. This obviously would have been a very brave thing to do, but she knows he can't handle it and stops him. I don't blame her for this, obviously. I mean, he's not prepared for it, but it is undeniable that she stopped him from doing something brave. Not to mention, he was the first to step up and ask Gi-hun what's wrong, and helped him get magazines from the pockets. He's not immune to doing things to help those he cares about, even outside his mom. He's a good person, keep that in mind. Now, most of the hate for this dude comes from 1 out of 4 moments. So I'll go over all of them and point out why either A, they're just wrong, or B, why you shouldn't look at a character in a show that has such complex and morally gray decisions in a one-dimensional format. The first decision I need to go over is when he chose to continue the games during his second voting round. Now, is this justifiable? Debatable, but he had his reasons, being that his debt was actually much larger than he'd let on before and he needed money to pay off. These people were going to harvest his organs, so can I really blame him for wanting that to not happen? No, not really. However, he did put his mother in danger when he did this though, and that's not okay. Again though, you gotta keep in mind that this is Squid Game, a show about hard decisions. Everyone has to make them, and he's not the only one. Recall one of the Phantom's favorite characters, number 120. She also chose to continue the games, which led to Young-mi being killed. Jung-bae as well chose to continue the games, but I don't see nearly as much hate for that. Now, I love all 3 of them, but even if you want to give 7 a extra hard time because his mom is there, fine, but don't completely excuse the other 2. Sort of connected to this is the fact that his mom came to the Squid Game to pay off his debt. I don't really understand how you can hate him for this. It's not like he asked her to do this. He was going to play the game himself to pay off the debt. He tried to get her to leave when the consent form was signed, but she refused. If anything, this should speak to how good a mother she is, not how he's a bad person. The next moment I'm going to talk about is one where people are just wrong. During Mingle, there's a scene where he's sticking by his mom, as usual, and a group of men come to drag him away so he can join their group. This obviously leaves the mom without someone, but we saw he definitely did struggle. Some people try to convince themselves that he wasn't struggling enough and that he was supposed to somehow break away from a group of strong men who was obviously stronger than him. Doesn't make sense to me. This one, above all else, just seems like you're reaching for straws, trying to paint him in a worse light than he actually deserves. Not to mention he broke down in tears apologizing afterwards. I find it hard to believe he'd abandoned her like that. Third is the scene at the beginning of Season 3 where he tells Gi-hun that Gi-hun is to blame for not bringing the magazines back, leading to the loss of Jung-bae. This leads to Gi-hun targeting him for the majority of hide and seek. Now, obviously he mostly said this just to make Gi-hun feel better, but from his perspective, as well as the perspective of many others that were watching, that's exactly what happened. Gi-hun came in, said they needed magazines. 07, his mom, and 222 helped collect them, but Gi-hun just stopped before going, breaking down and not bringing the magazines. From the way he, his mom, and Jun-hee see it, Yeah, that's what happened. I can't really blame Yong-seek for saying this, he's not wrong. But this again is a pretty dumb reason to hate him. If you're a Daiho fan, I can understand being upset, but should the blame not be on Gi-hun for tracking him down and murdering him after learning this? 07 just told it like he saw it. I don't see the problem here. Finally, we have to talk about that scene. Yes, the hide-and-seek one. I'll let it be known I'm the #1 defender of him in this scene. But there is no one person who's in the right. Not him, not his mom. That's the point of Squid Game, there is no right answer. So let's talk about it. First, he switched the vest with his mom, becoming a seeker when she was a hider. If we're being real, neither of them were suited for this role. Yes, maybe 149 would have been a better fit, but she is still an elderly lady, and it would not have been easy for her to land a kill on any hider, no matter who it was. They would have fought back, resisted. Yeah, that's not happening. Yong-seek was just looking out for his mother in this instance, even if he knew in the back of his mind he couldn't do it. Next, he runs into someone, a hider that pulled away from him during the mingle game. He hesitates, not really knowing if he could do it, but not wanting to kill someone. But the hider takes notice of this and jumps in. Now, I do think eventually Yong-seek would have gone for the kill. He wasn't turning around to walk away, but this hesitation shows he's more human than most of the people here. Plus, after seeing what happens when he hesitates, he's likely not going to want to do that again. Keep that in mind. He wanders around not being able to find anybody until the final seconds of the game where he runs across Jun-hee and 149, his mom. People seem to really hate the fact that he was going to kill Jun-hee, who recently had a baby, but let me walk you through this. Squid Game is a show about hard decisions, and no decision is harder than this. If you're one of the people who says he just had to kill someone and he wouldn't have died, really think about what you just said. You say that killing someone is like the easiest thing in the world to you, and you're also likely to say that the other people who were the hiders deserved to die more than Jun-hee. Some of them did, yes, like Player 100. Most of these people are also just people, normal people. And putting yourself in his shoes, if you were met with a choice, kill either yourself, your mom who has been your only parent for most of your life and has been there for you the whole time, or a random girl you had met less than a week ago who just had a baby. I'm sorry, but I find it hard to believe you wouldn't pick the girl with the baby. It's not like he was gonna kill the baby. That's not to say it's an easy decision, of course, it's not. Yong-seek doesn't want to do this. We see him see the baby, and he hesitates, not being able to pull himself to do it just yet. But before he does, his mom incapacitates him by stabbing him in the back. Now, do I think he would have died from this? No, not really, probably not. I don't think his mom intended to kill him, and she didn't. He was mostly paralyzed, not dead. The guards were the ones that killed him for not being able to kill anyone within the time limit. Park Young-sik is not a bad person. He didn't want to kill a new mother, and no, before you say that, like I said, he was not going to kill the baby. That'd be stupid. The baby was not a player at the time. He has no reason to do it. Why would you assume that? And yes, I have seen people assume he was going to do that. I'm not blaming his mom here either. While I wouldn't incapacitate my son here, I understand why she did it. It's not that she chose Jun-hee over Yong-seek. I don't even see it as her doing it because she just had a bit. Bro. I don't even see it as her doing it because Jun-hee just had a baby. The way I see this is that she wanted to stop her son from doing the horrible act of killing a new mother. She knows Yong-seek isn't like that, he's not that kind of person. He's always been soft, never the violent type, and she doesn't want that to be taken away from him, to change him into someone he's not. As she says during Mingle, he'd rather be bullied than bully another human being. Now, many of you haters may rebuke this by saying the mom offered herself to be killed by the son so he could move on, and yes, she did, but you have to keep his character in mind here. His primary motive is that his mom is his #1 priority. I doubt 90% of you would even consider the option of killing your own mother who had been there for you in this situation. I know I wouldn't, and if you say you would, I would look at you a little weird, I'm not gonna lie. That's low-key psychopath activities. Same people who say he just had to kill someone. People who say that is exactly what the VIPs, the frontmen, and Oil-nam want. Someone who throws away their humanity, as they put it, trash. Yong-seek was not the kind of person to throw away his humanity so easily, and his mom was not the kind of person to let her son throw away his humanity. In his final moments, when he was incapacitated, he kneels by his mom, giving her a hug, saying "I'm sorry" over and over and over again. He's sorry he ever tried to be someone he's not, and he's worried his mom sees him as a disappointment for what he did, to which, of course, we know she doesn't. Park Young-sik is, I'll say it, the saddest death in the entire show. I credit Ali, Jun-hee, Jung-bae, Oil-nam's fake out, Gi-hun, all the big names like that, but none of them hit me as hard as Yong-seek did. After this video, I hope you Yong-seek haters have a new mindset. He's not a one-dimensional character that can fit into your description of coward. He's more than that, as every character in the show is. He is a human, and unlike characters like Sang-woo, MG Coin, Player 100, and more, he never had to throw away his humanity. As Gi-hun puts it, they're not horses, they're humans. Yong-seek is not a horse, he's not someone you can predict the behavior of, someone you can fit into that simple description. Squid Game characters that make tough decisions tend to get a lot of hate by people who don't understand that's not all black and white in this show. Min-soo, he's afraid and not able to throw himself down 4 flights of stairs to attack Nam-gyu, but he regrets it till his final moments. Sang-woo threw away his humanity to save himself with Ali, and it led him spiraling down a dark path until the end where he saw the error of his ways. MG Coin, or 333, someone who put himself above everyone else, even if he didn't want to. Anyways, that's all I've got to say about Yong-seek for now. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Tell me what other characters you think are overhated and don't deserve the hate they get. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!